Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Creation Health. As you know, it's a faith-based wellness seminar based on unique whole personal health philosophy to live healthier and happier lives. Who doesn't want to have a healthy and happy life, right? We all do. And the 8 principles that we've been focusing on are, does anybody remember? Choice, rest, environment, activity, trust, interpersonal relationships, outlook, and nutrition. And all of these principles help us to fulfill God's original plan for our lives, to live healthier and happier lives. For those, I think everyone has been here before, right? So you'll know where the bathrooms are. Everyone knows where the bathrooms are. There's some down here, some upstairs. And we also have recipes, as you know, from the past seminars that we've had. And if anyone is missing a recipe, there's some at the front. You can ask Marcia or LeSuong or any of the ladies here, and they can help you find the recipes that you're missing. I'd like to read to you a couple of quotes. One is from Lily Tomlin. She says, "Reality is the leading cause of stress among those in touch with it." And then Betty White says, "It's your outlook on life that counts. If you take yourself lightly and don't take yourself too seriously, pretty soon you can find the humor in our everyday lives." Sometimes this can be a lifesaver. Sometimes our outlook on life can get a little grim, right? We just have to turn on the news and oh my gosh, it makes us feel anxious, right, and fearful. So I'd like to remind myself of one of the verses in the Bible where God tells us in Isaiah 41:10, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So it helps me to know that there's a God who loves me and who cares for me and who is there, who's ready to help us, who tells us, "Do not be afraid. I'm in control and I'm here for you." I'd like to introduce today our speaker is Mrs. LeSuong Cina, and she is responsible for the seminar, wonderful seminar that we have been enjoying all these weeks. We're putting it together. And today she's going to speak to us about outlook.
Well, I am not responsible for it, the Lord is, so if it goes, no. Welcome everybody, I'm so glad. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm not responsible for it, the Lord is, and these wonderful people that are bringing the message to you every week. We're all capable of bringing this message. We have a lot of people on our audience that can contribute, and we appreciate your presence here. First, I would like to write something on the chalkboard, and hopefully you all can see. Oh boy, I did run out of room.
You could just do a Wheel of Fortune.
Can everybody see that?
Opportunity is nowhere.
You just failed it. No. I was really discouraged when somebody put this test to me too. It says, opportunity, you can read it as nowhere. They say that's the pessimist outlook, or now here.
Yep.
So I didn't like that. I felt I was tricked because I really like to consider myself a positive person. But anyway, it is kind of, it's tricky. And you guys had the advantage because I wrote it out for you. When they gave me the test, it was over the phone. So I'm thinking in my head, oh, opportunity is nowhere. And then, oh, you're a pessimist. No, I'm not. But, okay. Outlook points our compass. It turns it heavenward or toward abysmal darkness. It fuels our engines or drains our souls. It is a choice. My husband and I used to like attending motivational seminars. Has anybody ever heard of Zig Ziglar? So when we first met, we loved doing this kind of stuff. We went to one of his seminars in '96 or '97, I believe. And who comes bouncing out on the stage but Mary Lou Retton? Do you remember her? Olympic gymnast. That was a lot of fun. And I've had a lot of really inspirational figures in my life. And so I felt when the lot fell to me to talk about Outlook, I thought, wow. At first I thought, okay, that sounds fun. And then the more I studied it, I thought, this is really amazing. This is not a coincidence how I think, the speakers that have brought you messages thus far, I think the Lord used us for a reason. And so anyway, in my study of Outlook, I found that it's really hard to talk about hope or outlook without hitting on the spiritual element. You see, if you believe in basic or physical evolution, the only hope you have is to survive until death. So where's the irony there? If you believe in spiritual evolution, it's still a belief based on an unknown future of attaining some higher level of consciousness. Where's the evidence for this? There is a measure of hope lodged in every one of our hearts for a better future. Otherwise, why would we bother getting out of bed every day? Of course, there are those who do struggle with this issue. They won't get out of bed, much less leave home. That lack of hope that writes, that writes off all humanity and divine intervention, I cannot speak to that firsthand, but I know God loves those people, and He would be there for them if they would give Him a chance. Okay. So there is a bunch of case studies in the following video. It's about 17 minutes long and a lot of interesting material, research.
Can you push your thing down a little bit, please?
When Apollo 13 thundered to life in an eruption of fire at liftoff, no one knew its crew would need a miracle to make it back home from the moon. 55 hours into the mission, 2 oxygen tanks exploded, ripping a hole in the side of the rocket, crippling the spacecraft. Unless NASA found a solution to a problem it had never even imagined, the crew would die in space.
Everybody here?
Apollo 13 is an outstanding case study on the power of an optimistic outlook. The spacecraft was 200,000 miles from home when one engine quit and they began running out of air. Jim Lovell radioed Mission Control and said these now famous words, "Houston, we have a problem." This unthinkable explosion hadn't entered into the planning of Mission Control. This emergency called for more than just the right scientific answers from space-age technology. The optimistic outlook of everyone involved is what became the real story behind the rescue mission. Back at Mission Control, Flight Director Gene Kranz told his team that he didn't care about the odds, or that they had never encountered this problem before. He said they had to believe that the crew was coming home, and that failure was not an option. That's the power of outlook. It's our choice whether we have an optimistic or a pessimistic outlook. The Bible says that as a man thinks, so he is. We can choose the way we view life. And the way we view life directly impacts our health and quality of life. Every thought either pulls us toward God or away from God. The good news is we can learn to be positive. And when we do, life improves immediately.
Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get all the breaks? Why she got the promotion or he got the raise? Why life seems to hand some people their dreams on a silver platter? Think about the kids you went to high school with. We all know someone in our class who really surprised us. You know, the kid who seemed to have all the brains but somehow didn't achieve much of anything significant. But then on the other hand, there's the classmate whose success amazes everyone at the class reunion. Though their lives appeared very average in high school, everything just seemed to go their way. Success or happiness is not a matter of good or bad luck. It happens by design. Successful people see life differently. They live with an optimistic outlook. It is important to understand the benefits of optimism because research has revealed that optimism plays a significant role in our overall health, from different rates of cancer to to overall immune functioning. Dr. Seligman, in his book, Learned Optimism, summarizes his many studies on optimism and pessimism by stating that compared to an individual's talent test scores, pessimists end up performing below the potential indicated by their test score results, and optimists are more successful than their scores would indicate they should. He says that the notion of potential without the notion of optimism has very little meaning. By simply choosing an optimistic outlook, we tend to increase our chances for success. That's such an important point. Let me say that again. By choosing an optimistic outlook, we increase our chances for success. Our outlook becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. People who practice the learned habit of maintaining an optimistic outlook approach life differently. To them, destiny isn't a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. It doesn't matter if you have natural talents and potential, you must reinforce it with positive belief and action. Pessimists often limit their progress toward goals because they don't believe they really have much control over their lives or destiny. They view problems as insurmountable. Pessimists tend to believe the good things that happen to them are just random luck, but take personal responsibility for the bad things that happen to them. People who are optimistic stay in the game and work to make their life a success. They are driven by the deep conviction that their decisions and actions can and will make a difference. They create plans or personal mission statements and manage their actions, adjusting their plans when life throws them an unexpected curve. Keep their attitude positive, always focusing on their goals. It's a process that first begins in the mind. So the next time you find yourself anxious or worried, pause for a moment and pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. We tend to have automatic internal responses to different situations. When something goes wrong, some people tell themselves that things will be better tomorrow, while pessimists tell themselves it's just life and there's nothing you can do about it. We need to develop awareness of these automatic responses, especially the negative ones, and then develop new optimistic ways to interpret what is happening in our lives. People with an optimistic outlook see it, believe it, and seize it. Just as a muddy spring can't produce clear, fresh water, it's impossible for a negative attitude to create positive results. The good thing is that optimism can be learned, and it has an incredibly powerful impact on all areas of your life. Having this positive mindset then enables us to envision the possibilities. And when you have a clear vision, you have meaning and purpose in life, as well as a positive outlook for the future. In fact, a person's positive outlook helps their vision become a reality. Their positive outlook becomes fuel for their vision. Let me explain with one of my favorite illustrations the immense power of vision. It's the story of Viktor Frankl, a well-known psychiatrist from Austria, who survived the nightmare of the Auschwitz Nazi concentration camp. He found a golden thread of hope. That golden thread of hope was a vision for the future, something he pictured in his mind worth living for. Frankl realized everything could be taken from him by the Nazis except his attitude. That was the one thing he controlled that could not be taken from him. He had a vision of his future. He didn't let the darkness of his experiences through the Holocaust determine how bright his future could be. Regardless of the horrors he was enduring, he focused on how his life could be after the war. He knew that a person with an optimistic outlook identifies something to live for and takes positive action in their daily journey toward making their vision a reality. This hope makes life worth living. Frankl concludes, "It is a peculiarity of man that he can only live by looking to the future. This is his salvation. In the most difficult moments, of his existence. Another habit we must practice to enjoy a satisfying life is hope. Having hope and a vision inspired sixth graders in an elementary school in Harlem, New York. Eugene Lang, a successful, self-made millionaire, had graduated from the school and was invited back to speak at the school's commencement service for the sixth grade 1981 graduating class of 52 students. As he was speaking, he realized that he just wasn't getting through to his audience. He decided to put his notes aside and he began to talk about Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. He told the students that everyone had to have a dream if they wanted their life to go somewhere positive. He emphasized the value of education and going to college, but then realized that most of them probably wouldn't be able to afford it. Mr. Lang then made a snap decision. He said, "Don't think for a minute that you can't go to college, because you can." And he promised to pay the college tuition for every sixth grader who was graduating that day who would go on to graduate from high school. This was the first time many of the students felt hopeful about the future. They began to develop a vision for their life. One student said, "I had something to look forward to, something waiting for me. It was a golden feeling." Mr. Lang knew that money alone wasn't the answer. He realized it would take a lot of work, and he helped create a support structure of teachers, counselors, and community who would work with the students to help them accomplish their vision for their lives. School statistics predicted that of the 52 sixth graders graduating that day, only 25% would graduate from high school. And of those 25%, almost none would go to college. But because of Mr. Lang's vision and challenge, 48 of the 52 sixth graders graduated from high school and 40 attended college. That's the power of a vision that inspires hope. God has given us the opportunity to choose our future. He has come to us as Eugene Lang came to those sixth graders with his vision that we become happy, healthy, and productive individuals, not only here, but also in the hereafter. He demonstrated just how much he loves us. He not only inspires us with hope of a pleasant future, but also provides us with the support structure necessary for our success. Any of us who are willing to take advantage of his offer can do so. It is a privilege that can't be taken from us. We can ignore it, but it won't be taken away. Our choice shapes our actions and reactions, impacting our destiny. As has often been said, whether we believe we can or we can't, either way, we're right. So why not believe and act in hope? The Bible says in Romans 8:24 that we are saved by hope. In this text, the word saved is translated from Greek sozo. It includes the concept of being healed from disease as well. What an interesting concept, to be saved and healed by hope. What effect does hope have on health and well-being? The Western Journal of Medicine published a story about a doctor who overheard two oncologists comparing the results they had with their treatment of cancer patients. Both used the same drugs, dosage, and criteria, but one success rate was 22%, the other was 74%. They each used a drug combination of etoposide, platinol, oncovin, and hydroxyurea, commonly referred to as EPO, E-P-O-H. The oncologist with the 22% success rate told his patients he was giving them EPO. But the oncologist with the 74% success rate told his patients he was giving them HOPE, H-O-P-E, and emphasized how this medicine gave them a good chance for survival. Hope has an incredible effect on how well a patient recovers. Not having hope, hopelessness, has an equally significant impact on a patient's recovery, for the worse. For example, studies show that hopelessness is a strong, independent predictor of cardiovascular disease morbidity and mortality. Hope has an incredible effect on how we live our lives as well. Living without hope, hopelessness, has a significant impact on the quality of our lives, both here and into eternity. God has given us strong evidence of His care and vision for us. He has provided us with the support structure and resources we need. Simply believing our situation is hopeful affects the outcome. We can instantly improve our life by being more hopeful. We can enjoy superior results by simply expecting the best and trusting the one who loves us to provide what we need for success. Hopefulness is a gift. Hopefulness is a choice. With practice, hopefulness can become a habit. Regularly expressing your gratitude also helps you have a positive outlook. Gratitude is a key part of a positive outlook. In your mind, start making a list of things for which you are grateful. It can be people or things. I'm thankful for sunshine and fresh air. I'm thankful for my family and the special people I can always count on. I'm thankful for a place to call home. I'm thankful for a knowledge of a God that cares about me as a person, and I'm thankful for His promise to work all things out for good. That promise puts a silver lining on even the darkest cloud. You should count your blessings. It would be good if you wrote down a list to review and add to every day. It will make it easier to choose to have a positive outlook. Counting your blessings will help you develop thankfulness and gratitude. Each day, tell someone at least one thing you are thankful for. Compliment those around you and tell others you are grateful for them, and they make your life better. When you do this, both of you will feel happier. In a research project on gratitude, people who regularly listed what they were thankful for experienced higher levels of optimism, alertness, enthusiasm, determination, and energy. Grateful people are more empathetic and are considered more helpful and generous by the people in their social networks. Their social involvement leads to better connection with others, leading to greater satisfaction with life. People with a positive outlook don't deny or ignore negative things in their life, but work through them with a hopeful attitude. Optimists count their blessings. Pessimists count their burdens. Being grateful brings joy to your life, and it helps you realize all the good that's around you. It's as simple as counting your blessings. It'll make a world of difference.
It was hope, an incredibly positive attitude, and some remarkable vision that eventually brought Apollo 13 back home. You can only imagine the joy and thunderous applause that filled Mission Control. The team had brought the astronauts home alive with their optimistic outlook and positive action. Their determination had accomplished the impossible. They never accepted failure as an option. Add hope to your life, and you begin to see things differently. Starting now, we can change how we view the world and experience life. It will become more enjoyable and satisfying, the way God intends for us. Here are 4 habits to begin taking charge of our outlook today. Practice optimism. Focus on the positive. Live with vision. Hope. Find the good in every situation. And express gratitude. Share at least one thing that you're thankful for with someone every day. Remember, opportunity is everywhere. Believe it. See it. Seize it. This is your life, and this is how God wants you to live it. That's creation health. Sorry.
Okay, lots of information, but it's not rocket science. I'd like to share a poem. Can you hear me? Okay. I'd like to share a poem. Okay, are your ears okay? Better? All right. outside my window, a new day I see, and only I can determine what kind of day it will be. It can be busy and sunny, laughing and gay, or barren and cold, unhappy and gray. My own state of mind is the determine key, for I am only the person I let myself be. I can enjoy what I do and make it seem fun, or gripe and complain and make it hard on someone. But have faith in myself and believe what I say, and personally, I intend to make the best of each day. And that was written by a prisoner. Another well-known prisoner. While Joseph was there in prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. The book of Acts talks about Paul and Silas. It says that after midnight, they were in prison. It says after midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God in prison, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly, there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once, all the prison doors flew open and everyone's chains came loose. I don't know if I have that kind of optimism. That is serious optimism. Have you ever been in jail? Felt a prisoner of your circumstances? Imprisoned by your past, your failures, others' definition of who you are, or their expectations of you? Have you been held captive by fear? Fear of the unknown, fear of the future. The Bible has the answer for all those scenarios. Jesus repeatedly said, "Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be afraid." The story of Joseph tells us how to operate when in the confines of physical prison, with integrity, that we may bless and be blessed. He went on to win the favor of the highest authority in that land and was thereby able to save his people in extremely harsh times. The book of Jeremiah dispels our fear of the future. Chapter 29 of verse 11 says, it tells us that God has plans for us, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I originally wanted to share this with you, but I think, has anybody heard of Blaise Pascal and Pascal's wager? If you put no other thought into your future, at the very minimum, the mathematical and logical probability of things turning out well when you believe in God is infinite. I'll just put it up here quick, and we won't go into depth, but So basically, Blaise Pascal was a 17th century French philosopher. Our pastor, French, must know this character well. Mathematician and physicist in the 17th century. This matrix here is famously known as Pascal's wager. His argument seems to be best captured as presenting this following matrix right here. His argument is that humans all bet with their lives either that God exists or that he does not exist. He argues that a rational person should live as though God exists and seek to believe in God. If God does not actually exist, such a person will only have a finite loss of pleasures, some pleasures and luxury, whereas they stand to receive infinite gains as represented by eternity in heaven, and thereby avoid infinite loss. Let us weigh the gain and the loss in wagering that God is. If you gain all. If you lose nothing. Wager then, without hesitation, that he is. And that's the matrix here. Winston Churchill, quote, "Be an optimist. There's not much use being anything else. The term optimism is originally derived from the Latin optimum, meaning best. Being optimistic in the typical sense of the word is defined as expecting the best possible outcome from any given situation. This is usually referred to in psychology as dispositional optimism. It thus reflects a belief that future conditions will work out for the best. Is our past holding us back from the power of positive thinking, the kind of thinking that drives martyrs to die for a hope that has seemingly abandoned them? Positive thinking has been given a bad rap. Anything God has authored, his enemy tries to steal the credit. Who was it that said, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, just, pure, whatsoever things are lovely, of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things." That was not a humanist or a New Age philosopher, and that comes out of the Bible in Philippians. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power. Power to hold on to the hope he has given us of a future with no more pain or sorrow or tears, united with the author of love and our loved ones forevermore. It says in Psalm 118, "I called upon the Lord in distress. The Lord answered me and set me in a large place. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear, for what can man do unto me?" No matter how hopeless things may look, we may feel alone or outclassed, the outlook is grim and we've drawn on our last ounce of strength, fight the good fight, knowing that God is with you. He is rooting for you at the finish line. The battle has already been won. 1 Timothy says, "Fight the good fight of faith, lay hold on eternal life to which you were also called, and have confessed the good confession in the presence of many witnesses." And I would like to introduce the person today who will be demonstrating our vegetarian food sample. She is one of the characters in my life that has taught me how to fight, be a fighter. And her name is Hat Verba. I just wanted to present this picture. She had her restaurant at one time, Sheboygan Falls area. And my mom, she had a lot to deal with back in Vietnam. And then we came over here and fighting to acclimate and to survive and succeed in this country, to the point where she raised 5 kids pretty much on her own and was able to open a restaurant a couple times, right? And I don't know, hopefully she'll come to this area someday soon and open a restaurant again. So this is my mother, Hat Verba. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we chose spring rolls, because it is spring and it's about optimism, the new life. So my mom's going to demonstrate spring rolls and papaya salad. Yeah, do you
Okay, now I put the water in here before I then dip the rice paper in here. Before you wrap them.
So we have some rice paper that I think a lot of times Walmart is trying to get different things like organic foods and Asian and Latin foods, but otherwise you go to the Asian store.
Yeah,
If you have one
this
close by.
one, the name of the company, but to use this one, we call the rice paper because we make out by the rice, and they look like a paper. So that's why we call it rice paper. And then we have to dip them in the water to get them moisture before you can wrap them. Otherwise, it just look like a paper right here.
So
Very delicate. This one is very kind of difficult to wrap because it's very thin. There are too many different kinds. Some of them thicker, but then when you use the thick one, it's hard to chew. You have to yank them out when you take a bite. But this one is very good. Take a bite, it fall right off. So it's hard.
Do you use warm water or cold?
Cold. Because warm water, that soft so
break down
fast.
yep.
So fast, you know.
So don't
After
make
you
the
put
mistake
everything
like I
in,
did.
you're not going to have no.
Do you need help with anything else?
Oh, I need a plate to put them in.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Can you tell us what the ingredients are as you put them in?
Okay, dip the cilantro.
Cilantro.
Yes. And then my hand is clean because I've been working on today with the food, okay? But this kind of work, you have to use them. Sometimes the people use the glove, but you touch the glove more than your hand, you know exactly 100% it's been washed. So, okay, I picked this one, carrot, you put them in, and avocado, and I put an apple in there too. Because this veggie spring roll. Now this one is tofu. You have to fry them to get them a little hard, because otherwise when they're not fried, they're very soggy. You don't put them in the spring roll. Some people mistake because spring roll and egg roll is same thing, but no. Spring roll, everything inside cooked. Spring roll, everything inside raw, and you have to deep fry it.
If you'd like to scooch up, if you're really interested in.
If we move the water, we can see how she's floating.
Oh, move the water?
Yeah.
Yes, then we can.
All right.
And second food today, we call it a papaya coleslaw. You have to use the green one. And then you peel the skin off, and you shred them like the carrot. You shred carrots, thing like that. So this one is papaya coleslaw.
We'll have that recipe for you next week. We didn't get that one done.
I don't know.
The papaya sauce?
I don't know.
And you use this one to dip them in this kind of sauce. We call a peanut butter sauce, but not just peanut butter alone. You have to add, first of all, I cut up the garlic, onion, chop all of them up. Put them in the pan, fry them up to make sure it's brown and good. And then I add some hoisin salt in there. Juice, sometimes you can add like a red wine, juice, some of those kind of beer if you want them in. But those kind is not 100% alcohol. It looks like a juice, but have a little beer in there. That's what you dip them in.
There's no beer nose. There's no beer nose though.
It's like an
No,
apple.
no.
Apple cider,
Yeah.
cherry, cranberry, like what jam. You put them in there to make them liquidy. Otherwise, it's so thick and salty.
Now, what are we doing next? If my hand is out, I have trays of them made.
Mm-hmm.
Should I go get those yet?
Bring it in here. They can eat in here. They go out there.
Let's bring them in here.
Eat in here.
John. Oh, you have to. So we have. So I think the main thing is just to, when you get the wrapper wet, to move fast and get all your ingredients in there fast. Otherwise, the paper will start tearing apart.
Yes. And especially, like I said, this one is very thin paper wrapper.
The carrot?
This one is kind of
Yeah, the carrots are grated.
yeah. And for the papaya salad, you use different kind of meat.
She's got the grater with the container underneath, so when she slid the papaya, it almost looks like noodle, like those veggie pasta things.
So you can do it so to the people. Because this one you put in a papaya salad. You can peel them up and let them sit down too. Different kind of mint.
Well, this is not yours.
For the papaya salad, you use different kind. Basil leaf.
It's not a basil though.
No, you use
It's
that
just a
and
different.
basil.
You
Either
said it's
one.
mint?
Yeah. I don't know. I call them a mint. I don't know if the American have them or not. I just call them different kind of mint. Very kind of spicy and smell it different.
I don't know.
But for the papaya
It's been
salad,
in the water, so it's a little.
I should put them in a water before they make them moisture. They look
Yeah,
very,
it's,
the leaf, it looks like a phoenix eye. Yeah, like a phoenix eye.
I think we call it.
what do you call it?
We call them rum. R-A-M. Rum. Yeah.
Probably what you're thinking, yeah.
Yeah, because the leaf is kind of thin and look like a phoenix eye.
I have Gabby from last weekend, her quinoa salad. Did anybody want this? That quinoa salad we had?
For Bob and I, we want.
You have it? Oh, there's forks. For the papaya.
This one is naturally this kind of food in our country. That's for the Buddha people eat. Yeah, everything in here is a veggie and Buddha. Yes. And healthy, but
This is the 14 papaya.
Sue, you know what you forgot? Chop up and put on top of papaya salad.
I forgot.
Yeah, we forgot. Well, if we do it again, we try to remember 100%, not forget anything. Everybody have? You want one? No? You want one? No, you don't? Okay,
Now we have.
You want another plate? You want another plate? You need a fork for them. You need a fork for them.
Oh, do I have fingers? They're right there by the.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That quinoa. Did anybody get that over here?
This one I have. Don't see it like a spinach, right? They can and they like that, right? But keep them alone. Be careful.
Are you sure?
Spice and a different kind of taste. But you have to put them in a papaya salad. So we have ginger and garlic, one kind, certain kind of meat. So same thing, those they are on different kind of meat.
Grater,
Different
and
kind
then
of
she
food.
had a
So papaya salad, we have used this one.
connected,
Basil.
and that's why she.
Cilantro, you don't really put spaghetti. Cilantro for different kind, you know, for the sweet.
Interesting.
See, spicy, right? Yeah, and I love this smell. So,
Yeah.
you have to
Good.
make sure.
Doesn't hurt anything.
Oh, yeah, take a piece of the lemon.
So when did you open this restaurant around here?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? I tell Sue. I tell her and her husband should start one. Then I will come down. When I was in Florida, okay, on of the hash, my friend, my son friend, they want me to stay out there to open a restaurant because they eat my food. They say, okay, I chip in 20,000. But because I stay in there short time, I don't have time to go looking around for a restaurant. But I would like go out there someday because they have and I feel shame because they see me.
Few questions. Opportunity, where is it?
Here.
Now here, right. I like that tricky question there, I thought that was neat. Who is Viktor Frankl? Anyone tell me who Viktor Frankl was?
Yes.
Wasn't he the prisoner in Nazi?
In Auschwitz, yes. And he had a vision of what his life would be afterwards. That's the only way he survived Auschwitz camp, yes. Eugene Long spoke to the sixth graders that were graduating that day, which there were 52. And as he was talking to them, he realized that what he was saying basically didn't matter to them at all. You know, they needed something more than that. How many of those 52 students went to college? 48 graduated from high school and 40 went to college. And what were the 4 things that for optimism? What were the 4 things that you have to do?
That was a good one. I like it.
Well, that's kind of the
Know
first
that you're
one.
gonna grab it.
Practice optimism. The second one was, that was the 4th one. The second one was a vision. The third one, hope. And the 4th one, gratitude. All right, thank you so much for coming.
I love that peanut sauce. Thank you, Het, for preparing those delicious spring rolls and for showing us how to make them. Please stay for some more refreshments. There's tea, as you know, in the back, and there are some peanut butter hemp bites, some Asian pears, and some vegan biscotti. So please feel free to go to the back table and sample some of those things. Next week's speaker is going to be our very own John Severson, and he's going to be speaking about the very last point of our series, which is, who knows what it is? Nutrition, and for nutrition. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here today on this beautiful afternoon, for coming out and being with us. And now if I could ask Pastor Samuel to have a word of prayer for us.
God, we want to thank you for this afternoon, for having been together in this nice place, for the presentation, for the food. And we ask that you'll help us to be positive, to have a vision for our life that's guided by you, to have hope that you've given us to, and be grateful, to have better lives next week. Bring us back next Saturday to have a good time together once again. Amen.